So let's just begin with a little bit of stillness and drop your shoulders. Just recognize maybe they have rolled forward. See if you can roll them back. So much of our lives comes from leaning too far forward without relaxing, and this causes us to compress our chest so we can't breathe very well. So just notice your breath and see if, but just by opening your shoulders a little bit, see if you can expand the breath by opening your shoulders here. And so you feel the expansion in just below your ribs as your diaphragm pushes your organs out. And you'll feel expansion in the ribs and maybe outwards and backwards. See if you can just feel the expansion of the breath. See if you can press your feet into the mat like you're trying to lift off with your legs, but then keeping a slight bend in your knees so you're not hyperextending. But also you're standing up tall. And so you're feeling the energy from the ground rooting you, but also the energy from your center moving upward. So you have the stable ground, but also the energy as it moves upward. And now your typical hot yoga practices will have you doing angel's breath. And honestly, the many times I've done it, it's never done anything for me. So let's see if you can just place your hands, your fingers at your shoulders. So your shoulder caps, where maybe your your shoulder pads, if you lived in the 80s, would have been. Your thumbs behind you and the rest of your fingers in the front, and see if you can maybe roll the shoulders, so rolling the elbows, so you're doing like a circle as you inhale. And then release, you're rolling down. So it's not quite an internal rotation in the shoulders, but just exploring just what your shoulders, see if there's any creakiness. So you inhale, open up, and then exhale, come on back. So I noticed that, I have a little bit of shoulder mobility issues in my left shoulder. But this is just a small, subtle movement that just allows us to open up our chest a little bit more with the breath as you inhale. And then exhale, just deep. So you're kind of drawing little semicircles with your elbows. But it's not the elbows themselves, it's mostly just the shoulders, just doing a little bit of an opening and exhaling. Continue breathing deep, softening, feeling the steadiness in the feet, but the rising through the crown of your head. So a hot yoga practice is typically done 106 degrees. And that actually serves as sort of a warm-up, because if you can imagine, it's just unreal hot. So just by sweating, you're already warming the muscle, but we're just going to allow the steadiness to be our guide in this practice. So we're playing with balance, we're playing with steadiness. And then release your hands and just maybe shake out your wrists a little bit. Get that synovial fluid going. And now we're doing some lateral bends. So you can clasp your fingers with your index fingers extended and raise your arms overhead. So this might feel a good stretch, but really feel the expansion, rooting with your feet, but also expanding through the top of your head, and let the index fingers sort of be the pointing, extending. So feel the extension first, and just notice how your core might be just engaged a little bit to actually help in the extension. So you're not crunching, but you're not giving too much in your lumbar spine. So we're really expanding, allowing the extension here. And now let's just kind of float a little bit the left and the right. And just notice what's happening in your shoulders as you go back and forth. Notice what's happening in the hips. And so if this is too much for you, you can keep your hands over on the top of your shoulders. But still keep the rooting and the rising. And now let's extend over to the right. So you're going to feel a huge stretch on the left side of your body as you're continuing to root on the right side. And maybe look up, but find the extension, but also how the right side is responding to root and anchor you. So it's finding that balance on either side of the body. Inhale, come back to center. Feel the whisking. And then let's come to the left side. And so the left side becomes your anchor as your right side extends. So we always think about how this balance can be in our life, where one part of your life might be expanding, the other part of your life needs to anchor. There can't be too many winds going a different direction. Otherwise, the sailboat doesn't go forward. And keep breathing. Your breath is also a telltale sign of how much you are pushing. And then let's come back up, inhale. And then release the arms and then shake them out, because I know that they feel a little bit of And so I'm going to step to the side a little bit, because we're going to do 3 types of chair. And if you hate chair, just find that it's about steadiness. So the first, you want to keep your feet just about a hip distance apart or 2 fists apart. And then place your arms straight ahead. Your shoulders just want to kind of be in their sockets. And just notice what happens when you try to bend your knees a little bit. So you're not drawing your knees forward. You're seeing what happens when you just pull the hips backwards. Just pull the hips backwards. Back, 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 back. And as you come down, just notice the shoulders are going to roll back. They're going to retract. And just notice the weight in your heels. See if you can press in with your toes. But you're going to keep the hips reaching back, 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 back. But your eyes are forward. You're going to try to keep your chest up. Your knees are actually facing forward. And just notice the steadiness here. And then release. Keep your hands where they are. Now we get a little creative here. You're going to come up onto your toes. And this is where we really challenge ourselves. So come up onto your toes. It doesn't have to be way, way up on your toes like a ballerina, maybe just a millimeter. Now, from here, squeeze your toes, like feel your toes like claws. So that is going to help anchor you and steady you. And now here, you're going to sit your hips back, but also your knees are going to come a little bit forward. And even if you just come down 2 inches, that's fine. But just notice how the small muscles in your feet are grounding you. So go as far as you can keep steady. And now what happens with the core is that you want to think about your hip bones pulling together like a drawstring. And that's going to help keep you steady through this posture. See if you can come down a little bit further. Feel the drawstring in your core. Sit your hips back a little bit further. And then release. Come on up. Keep your hands where they are. Take a breath. Find a steady focal point in front of you. And you can put your feet together just a little bit. Maybe just a fist distance apart. And then you want to kind of knock your knees together a little bit. So this might feel a little awkward. And then you lift your heels maybe about an inch. Now find the drawstring in your core. See if you can pull your hips together. I mean, it's not going to happen, but. And see if you can just bend the knees a little bit more. And you just notice you're going to be a little bit more upright. Keep your shoulders back. Claw your toes. Deep breath. Just notice how your body is always compensating. And then come on up. Release your arms and your heels. Now, you might already feel a little bit of sweating. It's amazing how you don't really have to be engaging in cardio activity for you to be sweating. Sometimes just sitting in one posture is just enough to get the blood moving and the muscles engaging. So from here, let's see if we can do an eagle. Now, eagle is my least favorite pose because I have some problems with my shoulders. Now, let's find some steadiness in the left foot. Okay, the left leg just kind of has that groundedness. You can bend the knees just slightly. Now see if you can pick your right foot off of the mat. Now I have a bad knee this morning, so see if you can maybe just get the leg to come off and cross over. Even if you do a figure 4, that's fine. And see, this isn't happening to me because my knee is very unstable today. So I'm going to bend my knees a lot. I should probably hold on to a chair or a wall. So I'm going to bend my knees a lot and then just cross it over like this. Okay? So it's basically like a version of eagle if your knee is really, really bad. So this is fine. So this is giving us a steadiness. Now, if you want to do eagle arms, you want to cross the right arm under the left. And notice that my arm, just because I have a bad left shoulder, they're not going to meet, and that's fine. Keep your core. So think about rising from the core to the crown of your head, but also grounding in your feet. So feel like somebody is stretching you from your feet to the top of your head, and your core is keeping you steady. And then uncross. So there's a big, huge sweeping and your more rigorous hot yoga class. And just notice how your body just does a little bit of recoil after each pose. So let's see if we can do it on the right. So ground your right foot. Feel steadiness here, bend the knee, and see if you can pick up the left foot and cross it over. So again, this might be your eagle pose today, or you can wrap it around. To be honest, I've never been able to do the double wrap. If you can, congratulations. But then just feel the bend, feel this stability. You want to think about internal rotation of your thighs. And then you can do your arms. So the left arm crosses under. And so notice that on this side, I can do the eagle arms. And so this might be fine. You can move the hands up a little bit. But just find the steadiness first before you want to make it harder. Find the stability in the feet. Find the stability in the core. And then we release the feet, release the arms. I'm still sweating. All right, and then check it out. So this one is going to be a little tough if you're not really used to standing on one foot. So again, this knee is, I don't know if you can see, it's swollen like a duck pin bowling ball. So I'm going to modify it a little bit. So it's called standing head to knee. So the original is where you basically, hold onto your foot and then extend it forward. And we hold onto it for a little bit longer than is comfortable, but let's just see if we can at least do the beginning part of the posture so we can work on stability first before we move forward. Because as you know, if you don't have that stability first, then you move too quickly out and then you fall out, which is a lesson in yourself, because you know that if you just draw back just a little bit and find the stability first, then that stability will bring you that freedom. So let's ground through the left leg first. So again, a slight bend in your knee. Ground through the toes, ground through the heel, and see if you can rise your right thigh to parallel. Find a focal point in front of you. So this might be fine for you for now. If you want to move a little bit forward, you draw your torso to your thigh. Okay, so you can hold your hands onto your thigh, but don't move it up. You want to move your torso. So it's basically like a forward fold to your raised thigh. And just notice how when you extend the torso forward, your core is going to need to kick in. So remember that drawstring in your hip points as you steady forward. And if you want to reach down to your heels, you can do that. Or you can just kind of stay here. And if you have your heel, you can eventually work the leg straight. And then how you came in, you come out. So begin with the torso rising and then release. Whew. So that as much as you push, there's also needs to be a release so you can find that inner balance. I'm going to need to draw the curtains closed. There's too much light coming in here. No, it's not going to work. Oh well. I wonder if I could just move the angle a little bit. All right. Let's do the other side. So we want to ground through the right foot. Really find that anchor. Find the claw of your toes to really work the feet, the little muscles in your feet. Steady yourself. Raise the left leg to parallel. Find a focal point just a few feet ahead of you. And then draw your torso forward. And again, do that drawstring abs. So you want to feel the core stabilize you. So again, you can reach down to your ankle. And then you can extend the leg forward. But just notice where the unsteadiness occurs and just work with it for a second. If it's too much, then back off. Find stability before you move forward. And then draw the torso up. Release the leg. Woo! It's pretty strong, Charlie, isn't it? So your legs are probably on fire right now. So now we'll do a dancer's pose. And so dancer's pose isn't available for everyone. So if you have a strap, you can go and grab it. If you don't, not a big deal. But the basics of standing dancers is it's basically a quad stretch, but we want to also work on stretching the upper thigh, the psoas, the iliopsoas muscles, because that's really where a lot of our back issues occur. So that's why I like using a strap, because it allows a little bit more of the hip opening. So I'm going to begin just looping the right foot into my strap, and then find the steadiness in the left foot. So this might be your dancer's pose. You can also draw the arm up, the left arm. So the left leg and the left arm are extending. So this might be your dancer's pose. So dancer's pose typically is held for 1 minute. And of course, I can't see my clock from here. But then from here, we want to press the right hip open and allow the strap to kind of contain our foot to give us a little bit of resistance. So it doesn't have to be anything extravagant, but allow the hip, the right hip, to open here. So in other words, it's not just this, it is opening right up here. And then pressing the top of the foot into the strap, you might actually feel a little bit of your glute max engaging. And then bring the right leg down, release the strap, release the arm, and steady. Whew. All right, let's try the other side. So again, we want to make sure that we are opening here. I mean, yeah, the quads are going to love this stretch, but we really want to focus on that subtle. So it's a bit of a back bend. I mean, dancer's pose is a back bend. But we really want to find where we are most tight and work with it. So loop your left foot, ground your right foot into the mat. So you can just use both hands to hold onto the strap. And this might be your dancer's pose. Remember to extend, to find yourself tall. You can bring your arm overhead, your right arm overhead. And so here we feel the core wrapping in, like you're trying to draw your hip point together. And now see if we can press your left hip forward. So it might be kicking back with the left foot, just a little bit of a stretch. So lots of times what might help if you have the strap is using both hands, opening the shoulders, and then feel a little bit more of a hip opening here. And then release the foot and relax. Take a breath for a moment. Just feel all of the different muscles in your legs that we've kind of tugged on. And see if we can challenge our balance from here. So I'm going to walk my strap off. All right, Charlie Butt, we're going to do some standing sticks. So this is your cue to bother me. Now, standing stick, we want to bring your arms overhead. You can clasp your fingers and extend your index finger up. Or you can keep your hands at your side on your hips. So I've been working with the left foot first. So in other words, the left foot doing the balancing first. So step your left foot a little bit forward, not too much. And now see if we can steady ourselves here. So notice like I'm kind of leaning forward a little bit. Now see if you can stabilize your core here. So feel the hips pulling together like you're zipping up your pants. Now see if we can float the right foot off of the mat. And as you do that, feel if you can kick the right foot behind you as you bend oh so slowly from the hips. So you're not crouching, you're keeping the chest up and open with a neutral spine. And see if you can come to bring your leg, your right leg and your torso parallel. And then release and step back with the right foot. So it's a little bit more challenging when you have your hands overhead. So that's why you can start by keeping your hands at your hips. So let's step the right foot, ground it. Feel your core really steady and stabilize first before you do it. Squeeze your right toes into the mat, float your left toes off, and see if you can keep the torso sturdy, stable as you bend forward. So notice that my left hip is kicking up a little bit. See if you can draw the hips a little bit more even. And then inhale. Come on up. Steady as you go. And step the foot back. Shake the legs out. So now I'm on one side of my mat. We're going to do I'm just waiting for the dog to bark. So I'm on one side of my mat. Let's just take a big wide step off to the right. So even if that wasn't your widest stance, see if you can maybe heel toe a little bit wider and just feel this nice stretch right here. Feel your thighs, your hips kind of internally rotate. Now place your hands just at the top of your thighs. Allow your hands to kind of press your hips back, but you're not actually moving your hips back. You're using that as leverage to pull your torso forward, and then feel your torso coming to parallel. Keep pressing your hips back, your thighs back, as you're coming into a forward fold. So I like this version of forward fold because that way you're not getting as much of a stress you're getting more of a stretch on the lower spine. Hi, Charlie. So you're allowing the chest to expand, to breathe a little bit better. And if you can reach for your feet, you can do so and relax into this forward fold. Or you can keep it active by continuing to press your thighs back and keeping the core in that drawstring or zip up position. Because we're building this core stability, not for vanity purposes, but for stability purposes. Now, if you are in a relaxed forward fold, engage the core and then place your hands back onto your thighs. Extend the spine, using your core, using your legs, squeezing your legs together as you come on up. Now, typically we will whip into another standing, but we're going to come into a very easy side angle. So the right toes move towards the front of your mat. Your left toes should be about parallel with the back of your mat. And let's bend the knee. Bend the knee. So this might feel really, really good. See if you can maybe square off your hips, because one knee might want to cock up. See if you can just maybe square off your hips and just feel this for a moment. Sorry, I'm watching my dog. And then see if you can bring your arms out to the side. Extend your right arm towards your right side of the mat, front of your mat. So feel this just kind of awkward imbalance, but find the balance here. And now just kind of open here. So this is when we want to have your hands just perpendicular to the floor. And then you can use your forearm to press against the inner thigh of your right foot. You can look up to the sky, you can find the bind, you can figure out what feels good, but this feels good for me right now as my dog is licking my hand. Now, just like we came down, we come back up. So spiral your hands into that awkward pose, and then unbend the knee, extend the leg, draw back. And then let's flip the right toes parallel with the edge of your mat, the short edge of your mat, left toes perpendicular. Find the grounding here. You can extend the space between your legs. Come into your, like a warrior two. And just feel the steadiness in this leg. Just notice what muscles might be turning on fire. Look down at your knee and see if it kind of tracks between your second and third toe. See if you can square off your hips a little bit so one isn't cocking up just yet. And then extend your arms to the side. And then see if you can reach over towards your left side. So it feels just a little awkward. Remember to press in with your right, the outer blade of your right foot, because that's still working. But your left leg should be kind of on fire. So extend all the way over as far as you can go. And when you can't go any further, then spiral your arms. So make sure that your arms are kind of in line with one another. So we don't do this, which is extended side angle. This is the version that we do in this practice. So again, you can find a bind if you want, but this is good enough for me. I actually find it very stabilizing and strengthening for my inner thigh, which really doesn't get as much strength with all the squat and deadlifting that I try to do. And then spiral the arms back to parallel. Straighten the left knee. Oh, dog left me a chewy. All right. And then just come back with your feet together. So a version of pyramid that hot yoga typically does, I'm just not crazy about. But because it's basically just, it's very, very hard to just do, because you're using your hands together and such. But let's see if we can just do just your basic pyramid. So starting at the back of your mat, just step your left foot forward. The ground the back toes. And again, with pyramid, it's really a matter of choice how close or how far you want to keep your legs together. And there's just a little bit of a bend in your left knee. So again, the hot version, you have your hands overhead, but let's just see what happens when we just dip the chin and then starting from the top of the neck, see if we can curl into pyramid rather than fold. Okay. So let's curl. And as you're curling forward, your hips are sitting back a little bit. Pressing into the front foot. So that's pressing away from you as you sit your hips further back.
So you're curling, 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 curling. And if you have a block, you can place a block, but you can use your fingers. This is where my audio is going to get a little weird. And so again, you can use this pose to really get a curling in your spine. So what they teach is that you want to curl your nose to your knee, but that might not be for today. And then the same way we came in, you come out. So it's like a rag doll coming up.
Bend through the front knee, step back. So let's try the other side. So again, it doesn't have to be too much, just step forward. Find out what's best for you. The back heel is grounded. So we curl best as possible. So again, my audio is going to get a little weird. So we curl down.
Into a little ball. Front knee is bent just a little bit. Draw the right hip back. Feel the extension of your hamstrings here. And then, like a rag doll, come on up.
And your head is last. Bend through the front knee, step back. All right, Charlie. All right, so now we get tree. And so your tree can be whatever tree feels good for you. I mean, there's many types of trees. But in hot yoga, we practice tree for a minute. So just keep that in mind and decide which version of tree you'd like to do. So we're going to start with steadying with our left foot. So steady, anchor, strong roots, core engage. We'll start with our 60 seconds right now. Oh, maybe not, just because my clock just stopped. So then pick up your right foot and you decide, are you going to place your toes on your ankle? Are you going to place your right toes on your calf? Keep pressing, grounding through the left toes. Oop. Now when you have a dog pushing a ball into your shin, it doesn't get very steady. See if you can keep grounding your roots as you rise. Maybe you want to draw your heel into your inner thigh. And this could be your tree. Oops. The minute I looked up, I lost my drishti. Now, wherever you are, just same way you came in, you come out. And release, relax. You are a little booger. Okie dokie. Let's try the other side. So let's start our 60 seconds right now. Ground through the right toes. Really feel that claw. And just pick up the left foot. Maybe it stays just at your ankle, and that's fine. Maybe it draws up a little bit, keeping the left hip open best as possible. Maybe your foot finds its way. It's not going to happen with me with this knee this morning. So the heel grounds on the other thigh. But just notice how I'm like leaning over. So you don't really want to do that. So I'm just going to have it open from here. So this is my tree. So I'm still getting the hip opening here, but not worrying about the knee bending. And then wherever you are, just slowly bring the left foot back down and shake it out. Now, typically what happens, this is the end of the standing practice. So you go into Shavasana. And so you do Shavasana for about a minute or two. And we come back and we do the floor sequence. So I'm going to pause this. So this will be the end. So you can do a Shavasana and then go to the next video, which has the floor sequence. All right. So again, this is part 1. Part 2, the floor sequence, comes next.